What's going on, guys? I just heard of the news of Mr. Brodie Lee. He passed away today. I know that you will not be seeing this the same day, but you'll be seeing this later this week. I just wanted to say my thoughts and prayers are with Brodie Lee, and in memory of Brodie Lee, we are going to be having a 10-second little break between from when this clip ends until when I begin my 2020 awards. But Brodie Lee, you're going to be severely missed. And rest in peace, buddy. What is going on, guys? It is your boy Gamers Goon here today with the 2020 Goon Award Show. We have a number of categories here today, and we will be going over who won my awards for the year of 2020 in wrestling. We started out with Breakout Star of 2020, and we have 3 nominees, one being Thunder Rosa, Trey, and then Deonna Purrazzo. Now, this one, to me, I knew exactly who I wanted to have win this. I've been really surprised with what I've seen. And for the Breakout Star of 2020, I am picking Trey. Trey is just a person that, at the beginning of 2020, he wasn't really on my radar. He was just another member of the Rascals, really didn't come into his own. And then we got towards Bound for Glory. We got later down the year, and this guy made himself into a household name. Ever since the little power slide power bomb that he did, he made himself in a household name. A lot of people, a lot of eyes were focused on this guy. Very athletic. I think he's going to be a very big star. I think he could go to AEW. I think he could go to WWE. I don't think there's any limits to what Trey can do. So with that being said, he was my breakout star of 2020. Nothing against Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo. I think Deonna Purrazzo did a great job for herself, moving away from the WWE and NXT, going to Impact and making a name for herself as their women's champion. And then Thunder Rosa, just somebody that really wasn't on the American fans' radar, but she came over to AEW and she made an impact. She made an impact on the show. She left a long-standing impression, and she got herself nominated for the Breakout Star of 2020. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to say that Trey was my Breakout Star of 2020. Next, we have the Commentator of the Year, and this one's interesting because our first nominee is Samoa Joe. Then the next one is Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone. So we have 3 nominees here. This one, I was juggling between Samoa Joe and Tony Schiavone. But at the end of the day, I give it to Tony Schiavone. More so because Tony Schiavone has more of a character. He's involved in storylines here and there with Britt Baker. The wrestlers aren't afraid to bring him into the story, aren't afraid to make him into a subject of attention, such as Jericho, just calling out Schiavone, calling him Schiavo, whatever it might be. He just has more interactions with the wrestlers than Samoa Joe. But don't get me wrong, Samoa Joe had an amazing year on the commentary table. Not a guy that you would expect to be on the commentary table, as he is a great wrestler. But in the pandemic, they needed somebody on the commentary table. Samoa Joe is a great talker. He stepped up to the plate, got the job done. So he was close just because he wasn't a guy that I thought would even be on the commentary table. But he ended up stepping up to the plate. He ended up delivering, and that's props to him. And then Jim Ross, once again, just gives character to the commentary booth over on AEW. Just a recognizable voice around there. He had a very solid 2020, but like I said, the winner of Commentator of the Year for me is Tony Schiavone. Next, we have the Best Cinematic Match of the Year. Now, this one only has 2 nominations, which are the Boneyard match, which happened at WrestleMania, and then we have the Stadium Stampede match. The Stadium Stampede match is one of my favorite matches of the year, bar none. This match to me was amazing. But the Boneyard match is something I don't think could even be touched in terms of the cinematic feel of things. It set the bar. It was the first of its kind. It set the bar high. You had AJ Styles go in there against an Undertaker that, honestly, we didn't even know that it was going to be a Boneyard match. They just had to make a Boneyard match because, really, is the Undertaker going to go in there and wrestle a 25-minute match? Or they just, no. So they made it into something that fit the Undertaker character, the gimmick. He came in riding on the motorcycle. Undertaker went out of that match looking great. Everybody was talking about how that match was amazing. Everybody was talking about how they could see another 10 years on the Undertaker if he was allowed to do those type of matches for WrestleMania. I think you can't even touch. The thing is, the first of everything is going to set the bar, and I think that match set the bar very high. I don't think you can touch it. It doesn't matter which type of cinematic match you have. I don't think you touch what they did with the Boneyard match. So that is my best cinematic match of 2020. We had the biggest holy shit moment in 2020. Now, this is a moment that you just said, holy shit, this is happening. So I was considering maybe putting something from the early, maybe Revolution, about the little match that we're gonna have nominated in a little bit, but I was considering having something along those lines, but no. Whether there was fans there or not, I don't care, because these were the biggest moments, at least for me, that I said, holy shit. And the first one being Sting debuting in AEW. You never thought it would happen. You never thought he'd return to TNT. There he was on AEW. You never thought you'd see it. You never thought you would see the day where Sting returns to TNT. Not only does he return to TNT, it's not for the WWE. It's for AEW. That is insane. And then he had a face down with Darby Allin, and that was just the icing on the cake. That was the icing on the cake. Then we had Becky Lynch handing in her Raw Women's Championship over to Asuka, announcing her pregnancy. That was just a moment I think everybody felt very happy for Becky Lynch. Just a, wow, I really didn't see that coming. So that was another holy shit moment. And then we had Matt Hardy debuting in AEW. This was close to when shows started getting canceled because of the virus. And a lot of people were trying to figure an escape out, trying to figure out hey, I need something to do because the world's shutting down. So you have Matt Hardy make his debut on AEW, and you got all these eyes turning to it. Everybody's like, holy shit, they still went through with getting Matt Hardy on this show? That's crazy. So it's very nice to see Matt Hardy going to AEW, even through the virus, at the beginning of it. But for me, the biggest holy shit moment of the year is Sting. It has to be Sting. Just because I never thought I would see Sting on TNT again, yet alone on AEW. That is insane. The other moments were crazy, but that had to be the craziest. Next, we have the best faction of 2020. We have the Undisputed Era, who, in their own right, are one of the greatest factions we have. We had the Inner Circle, who had a phenomenal 2020. And on top of that, we also had the Dark Order, who I think came around very well when Brodie Lee came into the picture. But for me, the winner of Best Faction is going to be the Inner Circle. Jericho, he had amazing matches this year. MJF's storyline with Jericho, bringing MJF on into the Inner Circle, was done well. You had the Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz. They had that nice feud going. I feel like the Inner Circle as a unit had a lot of solid positives for the year of 2020, more so than the Undisputed Era, more so than the Dark Order. The Dark Order really only had Brodie Lee popping off. The Undisputed Era kind of didn't reach the level they reached last year, So I don't think they had a bad 2020. I just don't think they had as high of a last year, so they're more on a decline. But they still had a really good 2020. But the fact that the inner circle had such a great year individually, and then they come together as a group in the end, that for me is why they are my faction of 2020. Then we got Tag Team of the Year. Now, the Tag Team of the Year award doesn't have a single WWE team on it. Not a single one. And that is because AEW has birthed and made tag team wrestling into their niche. They made themselves the destination for tag team wrestling. That is exactly why all three teams that I've nominated for this are on AEW. First, we have the Young Bucks, then we have FTR, and then we got the Best Friends. And for me, the winner of it all has to be FTR. They started off 2020 in the WWE. They left. They finally came into AEW. They had a nice debut. They had the nice cars. They had the nice look. They came in. They played mind games with Hangman Page and Kenny Omega to split them apart. Finally win the championships. And they've done great throughout every single match they've been in. I don't think there's any debate that the FTR guys are one of the best tag teams in the world. And for that reason, I'm going to have them as my tag team of 2020. The Young Bucks make a good case. They had a lot of great matches, some that are going to be nominated for Match of the Year. And then you have the Best Friends, who also have a Match of the Year nomination. And they are one of the tag teams that I think are poised for a big 2021 in AEW. I could see them being the tag team champions, but as of right now, FTR are those guys. FTR are the tag team of 2020. And next, we have Breakout Star for 2021. Now, this is a guy or a woman that I think could have a year next year where they exceed new heights, where they do something out of the ordinary, where they go above what they've done. And I made this award just because I wanted to give somebody an award here. The names that I've nominated for this award is Karrion Kross, Cameron Grimes, and Ricky Starks. Now, I love all three of these guys. I think all of them are going to be making new heights next year, whether it's Ricky Starks becoming the TNT champion, whether it's Cameron Grimes becoming the NXT champion, whether it's Karrion Kross getting called up to the main roster and becoming a WWE champion. But for me, my star that I am looking forward to seeing next year, the guy that I think has the best opportunity next year, is Karrion Kross. I want to see this guy be successful. I think he's got the perfect look of a champion. He's great in the ring. He's coming off injury. He should be fine to go. He's going to be winning his NXT championship back soon. And then from then on, I don't know when he drops the title, but I could see him going right to the main roster and making an immediate impact on the main roster for a WWE championship, for a Universal Championship. One of the big titles. I expect Karrion Kross next year to exceed what he did in NXT this past year. Now we're getting into the big three, the last three categories of nomination here. And the first one of the big three is the feud of the year. Now, these are feuds that I think have turned a lot of heads and made a lot of people more interested in the product. And that's exactly why I nominated them. First, we have Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole. Then we have Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. And then we have MJF versus Cody. And the MJF versus Cody, I was considering whether or not to make it the winner here, but I couldn't do it because that's kind of a distant memory. It happened at the beginning of 2020. I'm thinking of the pandemic season. I'm thinking of what made this year great when things weren't so great. And to me, yes, the Pat McAfee and Adam Cole feud was insane because it brought real life, what seemed to be real life, into NXT and make it important. But for me, the feud of the year had to be Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy, because the stuff they did, the character work that was at play, was absolutely brilliant. The debate was amazing. Mimosa Mayhem was amazing. Their first match was amazing. The dropping of the orange juice onto Chris Jericho's jacket, everything to do with that was amazing. And at the end of the day, Chris Jericho did what Chris Jericho does best. He put over the new star in Orange Cassidy. And I think Orange Cassidy is another one to pay close attention to next year, because I could see him going to new heights. I could see him possibly vying for a TNT championship, possibly getting a AEW championship opportunity. So that is exactly why my feud of the year is Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Now we get into a one that's probably going to have controversy around it, because it's all subjective opinion here, and that is match of the year. Now, all these matches were great. Like I said, this is the Goon Awards show, so this is what match I prefer. So, in the match of the year candidates, we have the Young Bucks versus FTR at Full Gear. We have Best Friends versus Santana and Ortiz in a parking lot brawl on AEW Dynamite September 16th episode. We have the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page at AEW Revolution. And we have Walter versus Ilya Dragunov at NXT UK on October 29th. Now, 3 of these matches are tag team matches. I'm more of a tag team fella. I like the tag team aspect of wrestling. I'm a big tag team guy. I love the Young Bucks, you know that. I'm a big fan of the FTR guys. I'm a big fan of what Kenny and Hangman were able to do throughout the first half of 2020. So I'm a big tag team guy. So the winner of this award is going to be the tag team matches. Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. It was good. It was a very good match. It was the best singles match of the year, in my opinion. But I can't give it the award because it wasn't my favorite match of the year. My favorite match of the year is the one that I went to right before the pandemic begun at Revolution. It was Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. It might be a little bit skewed because I was there. I experienced the atmosphere. I was part of it. But this match was absolutely mesmerizing. The Young Bucks versus FTR match was great. The Best Friends parking lot brawl with Santana and Ortiz was great. It's the best parking lot brawl I've seen. But for me, I have to give it to the one at Revolution. I gotta give it to the Young Bucks with Hangman and Kenny, because they set the bar on that night. If you were in the arena with us, it was insane. It was insane. There was not a moment where the jaw dropped. There wasn't a moment where we weren't saying, holy shit, how the fuck did they just do that shit? It was an insane show, and even more insane in this match specifically. So that is exactly why that match is my match of 2020. And last and certainly not least, our final award here on the Goon Awards show for 2020 is the best wrestler of 2020. Now, this award, I believe, was won towards the later half of the year. We had a lot of great wrestlers in 2020. Drew McIntyre is a nominee. He had a great 2020. Kenny Omega, MJF, Roman Reigns, and Bayley. And my winner is Roman Reigns. Bayley, I think, by far had the best year of a woman in all of wrestling. She elevated the women's division during the pandemic, along with Sasha, but I think Bayley was number one in all of it. MJF, the stuff he did this year, he had some great matches. He was able to do some great character work with Chris Jericho. I think he had a very good, very solid 2020. He had some good stuff with Cody there. So he had a great 2020. Kenny Omega, the character work there when he was trying to split apart from Hangman Adam Page, and then now him being the AEW champion, him going to Don Callis on Impact, that helped his case here for Best Wrestler of 2020. And then Drew McIntyre, a name who's been consistent throughout the whole year, being the WWE champion. You can't be the WWE champion for almost the whole year and not be nominated for Best Wrestler of 2020. But for me, the guy is Roman Reigns. Why is it Roman Reigns? Because Roman Reigns did something this year that I don't think anybody thought he ever would. We're used to smiley Roman Reigns. We saw smiley Roman Reigns at the beginning of the year. The Roman Reigns that nobody cared about. And then he went away. He went away before Mania because of the pandemic. He didn't want to get his family sick. Then he returned. And now he's a tweener. He's kind of like a heel, but not necessarily a full-blown heel. He has Paul Heyman in his corner. He's the chief. He's the head of the table. He's forcing Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso to be his pawns in this game that is the WWE. He's forcing them to do his dirty work. He had a great match with Jey Uso. He had some great matches on his escapade there with Jey Uso, where he would just beat and brutalize Jey Uso and not let Jey Uso do a thing to even challenge or question his abilities. So for me, the fact that Roman Reigns took that step that we all wanted him to be taking for the last 3-4 years, that he's finally turned that page, that is why Roman Reigns is my wrestler of 2020. Thank you guys for tuning in for the very first Goon Award show for 2020. Let me know in the comments below who you guys thought won each category in your own opinion. Obviously, it's all subjective, but for me, I'll let y'all know who I think deserved to win. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you give it a thumbs up, and let's hope for even a better 2021. What's going on, guys? It is Gamers Goon here today, and today we have to ask ourselves the question of, what should our realistic expectations for 2020-2021 Chicago Bulls be? What should our expectations of this team be? We are a team that, on paper, should make the play-in game. Should contest maybe that eighth seed. We got Zach. We got Kobe. We got Wendell. We got Lowry Markkinen. We got Otto Porter, who's been looking great. We got Pat Will, who's looked great. We got Archie Diacono, who I really like off the bench. We got Thad Young, who we haven't seen play yet in preseason, but he should be okay. We got a lot of names. We got Gafford. We got Garrett Temple, who's supposed to be a locker room leader for us. So, what is our ceiling this year? I think our ceiling is a 5th seed. That's assuming that we could get Zach to average his 25 points a game. That is assuming that Wendell can average 13 and 10. That's assuming we can get Kobe White to a more consistent scoring of maybe 16, 17 points a game. That's assuming we could potentially get Pat Will to average around 10 points, play about 20 to 30 minutes, somewhere in between there, and play good defense. That's assuming Lowry Markkinen takes the steps that we've seen him sort of take here in the preseason, where he's being more aggressive. He looks better. That's assuming that Otto Porter continues to be an energizer from what position he is in, whether it is off the bench or as a starter. That is assuming that Chandler Hutchinson can come in the game and make an impact like he has been doing the last few games here in the preseason. That is assuming that Daniel Gafford can come in and just be a big body, play some good defense when Wendell gets in foul trouble, when Lowry gets in foul trouble. So, the ceiling, 5th seed. Realistically, probably an 8th seed. If I were to guess, we'd probably be around the 8th seed. We are a team that I think is going to be very interesting this year. We should be fun. We're a young team. Zach LaVine always makes things fun. Kobe White push the tempo. He's looked great in the preseason. He's going to be our point guard. Sato, when he comes back, should be a good player off the bench. Maybe we start him. I don't know. Pat Will, I'm not sure if we're going to start him. Not sure if he's going to come off the bench. He's looked good, though. He looks like he has the mid-range. He looks like he plays good defense. So, we just need to stay healthy. We got guys that are somewhat injury-prone. Wendell, he's injury-prone. Larry Markkinen, he's kind of a fragile big. We got Chandler Hutchinson, kind of injury-prone. So, we got to keep those guys from getting injured. If we keep them from getting injured, we shouldn't have a problem this year. We shouldn't have a problem. We should be a very fun team to watch. Billy Donovan's the coach. He's a good coach. I expect a lot of development out of Kobe White. I expect Kobe White to probably struggle at some points this year. He's going to be playing point guard. He is used to scoring the ball. He's going to need to learn how to drive and kick out. I don't know if he's going to be doing that at the beginning of the year, but I imagine by the end of 2020, 2021, whatever, by the end of this season, you're going to look at Kobe White and you're going to see a lot of development in him. You're going to see a guard where it's completely different from the beginning of the year. I actually believe that Kobe White is going to be the most improved player of the year. Why? First off, that's my guy, Kobe White. You know me. Love my boy. But Kobe White he's speedy. He's got the three-pointer in his bag. He's going to be playing a new position, basically. Not necessarily, he plays guard, but he's going to be in a different role. He's not coming in there to score now. He's playing alongside Zach, so he's got to facilitate. So I think we could see numbers jump there in the assist ratio. Maybe 4 to 5 assists with maybe 16 points. That's a big jump for Kobe White. And I think he can make it. You're going to get the 30-point games out of him. You're going to get the 30-point games out of Zach. But the real question is, can you get him to mesh well together? And I think he can. But there's one concern I have this year. And that is, I don't believe our team is going to finish the same way it starts. We are starting the season in 2 days. You're saying this tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'm filming this a day before you're going to see it. But by the time you're saying this, tomorrow's the game. We did not re-sign Larry Markkinen. He's not going to be on the team as of right now. He's going to be a restricted free agent. We have a chance to match him, whatever. He's going to be restricted. But we're going to need to figure out whether or not we're going to keep Larry Markkinen. And it's an expiring contract that we don't know if we're going to be able to bring back. I honestly think we might trade Larry Markkinen to a contender, whether it be Golden State, whether it be a team like the Rockets, whether it be a team that just needs another piece, maybe a 76ers, maybe the Timberwolves. I don't know. I could see a scenario where we trade Larry Markkinen and we say, you know what, Thad Young, you're playing this year, the rest of the year at power forward, or maybe Pat Will, you're gonna step up and you're gonna play power forward for the rest of the year. I can see a scenario where that happens. If that doesn't happen, I could see us trading Denzel Valentine. He's not necessarily done much for us, and if we can't get him scoring, we could be moving on from him. I could see a scenario where we might trade Satoransky just because we don't really need him to play point guard, considering we have Archie, who I really like, and we have Kobe White. I could see a scenario where maybe Thad Young is on the block. I could see a long scenario. I don't think it's necessarily a likely one, but if Wendell doesn't play good like he hasn't been in the first few preseason games, who says he's not going to be traded? Who says a team like the Warriors aren't going to take a look at him and say, you know what, we can make something out of him? Let's give you guys Jordan Poole. Let's give you guys Eric Pascal. Let's do something like that. I can see a scenario where that happens. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I think there's going to be some sort of trade in the middle of the year. The Bulls aren't a team to make trades in the middle of the year, but we have new management. We have Mark Eversley there. We got Billy Donovan there. I can see it happening. But realistically, it is a 72-game season. Not the normal 82. But 72 games, you are probably going to need to win about 35, 36 games, I would assume, to make it. You're going to have to sit around 500, 36 games, if you're the Bulls, to make it in the East. And I think they can do it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be pretty tough. But at the end of the day, I think they got it. I expect them to be able to beat some of the lower-end teams like the Pistons. I expect them to be able to handle their business against teams like the Knicks. I expect them to be able to handle some of the teams that aren't necessarily good, but or not necessarily great, but they're borderline good, like the Magic. They're a good team. I expect us to be able to beat those teams this year because we have the coaching, we have the players. The Cavaliers, I expect us to be able to beat them. Now, you're going to struggle against the Lakers. We're going to struggle against the Warriors. We're going to struggle against the Clippers. We're going to struggle against the teams that have the stars. We don't have the stars, and honestly, we don't have any way that can guard the stars, except maybe Pat Will, who we don't even know if he can guard the stars yet. Kobe White's not going to be able to sit there and guard Curry through 4 quarters. Zach LaVine's not going to be able to sit there and guard whomever it might be. It's just not realistic. Maybe Chandler Hutchinson come in, maybe a guard at LeBron. He's athletic. Chandler Hutchinson, I don't think he's going to be able to stop LeBron. Patrick Williams might be able to slow LeBron down a little bit, but you're not going to be able to stop them, especially when you don't have the Kawhis. Now, Patrick Williams is a good defender. A lot of people say that he might be a Kawhi. Now, that's a long shot, but it could happen. That'd be great if it did, but I don't see it happening year one. So we're going to struggle against the better teams. We're going to struggle against the teams that have somebody like a LeBron James, that have somebody like a Kevin Durant, that have somebody that they can just give the ball and they know they're powerful enough to go in, drive in on you, and get a bucket. They know that they have the ability to just score from anywhere on the court. Like a Curry. It doesn't matter how great of defense Kobe White's playing on him. He's going to pull. And I don't think Kobe White is going to be disruptive enough to stop a Curry from scoring, because it takes a very disruptive defender to stop a guy like Curry. We aren't going to have anybody this year that can step up against Giannis. Maybe Patrick Williams can. I know Chris Dunn was able to play some good defense on Giannis when we did have Chris Dunn last year. That's why I'm not very happy that we let Chris Dunn walk, because he was scrappy against Giannis. Giannis had a little bit of trouble. He didn't necessarily stop him. He slowed him down, which is exactly what you want to do if you're a team that doesn't have a dominant player, that doesn't have a guy like an Anthony Davis, doesn't have a guy like a Joel Embiid, doesn't have a guy like Giannis, that are just more athletically gifted than everybody else on the court. You just want to be scrappy against them. And I think we're going to be a scrappy team. I just don't know if we're going to be able to guard those kind of guys. But the teams that aren't necessarily the most athletic, the Wizards, I don't really care about a Russell Westbrook. We can stop that. We'll let Russell Westbrook have his points. But the Lakers, they're going to be scary. Paul George with the Clippers and having Kawhi there is going to be scary. When you start getting to 2 elite scorers, when you start getting to the more physical big men, there's your problem. Russell Westbrook, you're gonna force, he's not gonna necessarily be able to drive every play. Now he could, but you expect Wendell to be able to get in there. He's not gonna manhandle Wendell. Now a Joel Embiid, on the other hand, he could. But you can try to stop a guy like a Russell Westbrook. So there's levels to it this year. And the question is, will we have enough of those levels defensively to step up? And I think we're going to have just enough to make an 8th seed. I think we're going to have just enough where we're able to slide into the playoffs. I don't expect this to be another disappointing year. I don't. This year's going to be good. I know a lot of people were questioning the Patrick Williams pick. Calm down, Bulls fans. Trust me, this kid's going to be good. You've seen him play through the preseason. He's got a mid-range. This man is a killer from the mid-range. He's had good defense. He has a 3-ball. He's very athletic. I think he can be very good. It's just a matter of how much we get to play him and how much other players can do to get him into positions to be successful. That's all it is at the end of the day. So for my record prediction here, I'm gonna have to go, and I'm gonna have to say I'm expecting around 38 to 40 wins this season. I think that is a safe scenario for us. 40 and 32? Not bad. Not bad. I think that gets us into the playoffs. I think that gets us where we want to be, and I think that helps Billy Donovan prove that this team was already ready. It just needed a new coach. So hopefully we get that. And that's really all I gotta say. Bulls fans, be ready this year. We're gonna be running with the Bulls. You know how it is. Like I said, I think Kobe White has a chance to get most improved this year. Patrick Williams has a long shot to get Rookie of the Year, so it might happen. But Bulls fans, don't get worked up. Don't get sad. Don't get any sort of negative vibes going into this year. I think we're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it, guys. I think we got this season, and we are gonna be back where we belong in the playoffs, playing playoff basketball once again up in Chicago. So I'll be seeing you guys later, and thank you guys for watching the video.